TikTok. There we go. Live. Live. We are the Maze. Hi, my name is Alex, and I'm representing some of the Maze community here. We're here with Vincenzo Watkins. He's also here. Andrew, he is also graced us with his presence. Before this Mazecast was put on a live feed, I was talking about how this whole endeavor is really, it's one of the long strokes, you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where we really got to wait. We got to be patient about it because all the people that are involved, that have been involved with the whole Mazecast, and indeed with Into the Abyss website, it's been a long and progressed escapade. It's been one of those things where a lot of people who were already interested got into this thing, and so that's why what put us all together is because we were all interested in it. The accumulation of the years, it has come to this, and it's going to take a few more years to get anybody else involved who's seriously involved. I'm not talking about those people who are, 1 or 2 day soldiers, that type of stuff, because we've seen a few of those, and they put some good input into the game. But long story short, it's all the people who have put the long strokes into it that really got to get the credit for it. White Raven, myself, Vincenzo, Andrew, Ben, all those guys. Who else? Who am I missing? David Gentile, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, how could I miss him, man? Who else? Yeah, there's a few others, but long story short is this is one of those games where it's a long haul, you gotta really be into it, and you really gotta be into investing some time into some thought and some Wikipedia. And
Wait, did you say Greg? Did you mention Greg? He's gonna be mad if you didn't mention Greg.
Greg, yes, I am completely remiss for missing Greg, but I just reconnected with Greg actually because I wasn't in one of the Google Hangouts that he's a part of and mostly a member of, and I just re-added myself to that. So yeah, Greg's doing okay. He's doing great. I guess he couldn't make it for this endeavor, but yeah, he's a great resource. And anyway, so tonight we're going to talk about Room 3, which you can see in front of you. Vincenzo has made it available. This is the backward room. This is the one that you could pretty much say that you're looking at in a mirror. So, boys, what do you got to say on this?
I'll tell you what I like about Room 3, or what I like about our understanding of Room 3, is at the very least we can look at it and we can say, like, here's what's going on in this room. Everything is backwards, It's like the Cask of Amontillado room 39, we can look at it and say, okay, this room's about the Cask of Amontillado. Maybe we don't know how to read it correctly, but we can see at least what the thought was that went behind it,
It has
what's that?
It has a theme. It definitely has its own unifying theme.
That's what I'm trying to say. So I like that we can look at it and see that it's backwards. What has been put together so far, to my knowledge, from any source, and I think it's actually pretty good stuff, is to do with the linking of different objects in the room together. And it actually does a pretty good job in itself of pointing towards Room 18, although we've been given to understand that there's still a lot more to this room. But let me just run through what the mapping of objects is, how each object pairs with something that's sort of close or related to Room 18. So we've got the Sphinx picture in the back. You've got the Sphinx and then a question mark on it, which is suggestive of the riddle of the Sphinx. And in Greek mythology, the riddle of the Sphinx was what walks on 4 legs in the morning and 2 legs, what is it, in the...
2 legs in the afternoon, 3 legs
in the middle of the day, 3 legs at night.
And the answer was man. It probably was man, not humankind. It was probably worded in a sexist way because people crawl on 4s early in life, then they walk on 2 legs, then they walk with a cane in later life. So the stick figure that's on the wall right by 18 is, in effect, the answer to the riddle of the Sphinx. And so those sort of go together. Now, also listed on the Abyss, and I don't... Well, what it says is that what is your sign also relates to the stick man because the stick figure is a symbol of a person, and us, the reader, we are people, so our sign is the sign of the stick figure. Which I'm kind of in the middle on that one. I could see that. Well, it's a
No, I mean,
little hokey.
I gotta say, me too. I'm
But
on the fence about that, but what sways me with that sign is the connection to the text where it's talking about they saw through the or they looked at everything except the real. I don't have the book in front of me, but I'm talking about how it has a connection between that and how there's only one real sign in this.
Mhm.
I think that people tend to think that the real sign is this way.
It is. I think it is. Anyway,
But
Vince.
as far as the man thing, I'll agree that it is a little. I also feel sort of neutral on that one. But White Raven himself has also admitted that "what is your sign" could refer to the stop sign. It could refer to this way. So he feels that there are a few possibilities as well. I think he just thinks that one is the most elegant. But I'm with you guys. It's not the most rock solid feeling connection out of the connections in the room for sure.
But the way I see it, right, is because the first thought you might have, or at least that most laymen have, is this: oh, you're talking about signs now. You're talking about horoscopes and zodiac and shit like that. Well, we're not, because it's been explicitly noted by Manson and friends that you don't need any outside knowledge. You just need your brains for this kind of thing. So what is your sign? What is the one sign that'll do you right in this room that'll get you to the next room? I think that's what it means, as opposed to the red herring of taking it to Zodiac, which a lot of people would think.
I think that's a good interpretation, but I still feel like that leans you toward this way. That doesn't nudge you toward the man. I think you were originally arguing that this is a connection between what is your sign and the man, and I don't.
No. I think it does fit in because this way does lead towards the man. It does. There's no mirror image for the arrow. It does indeed point to the man. Like it's sort of like it just adds to the rest of the clues in the room. Like if you're going to I guess investigate all the other clues in the room, this is the last one you're going to hit, or even the first, and eventually you're going to say, well, should I point this the other way? But indeed you don't. You just you go with the flow. Or at least that sign.
So you are interpreting you are going from what is your sign to this way, but then you're saying that this way points to the man?
I'm just saying that this whole room, I think, is an illusion except for the one sign. It is the one thing that points towards the right direction, and that indeed is the combobulation of it. Is like you're trying to say, oh no, that's a trick. It's a trick. It's not. It is. It's the only thing that is pointing you to the true direction.
But wait, so what is the one true sign? You're saying the this way sign is the one sign?
Yeah, and I thought that's what this whole discussion was going to come down to. Is like you could look at pots, you could look at the riddle of the Sphinx, you could look at the sun and the moon, all that bullshit. But when it comes down to it, this way is the one true sign, and that's what this whole room is telling you. What is your sign? My sign is the fucking arrow right there. This way.
And of course, that sign is different from all the other signs in the room. I mean, you've got the stop sign, you've got signs over the doors, but the this way sign has been flipped vertically. Everything else has been flipped horizontally. Now, you could flip it horizontally and then turn it around 180 degrees, and it makes a sign as well. But the point is, the this way sign is both upside down and flipped, which you can achieve just by flipping it vertically. Everything else in the room has just been flipped left to right. So it is distinguished from everything else, and it does point the right way.
It does. It's one of those cases where when you do put this room in a mirror, it all makes sense at that point. At that point, when you put it in the mirror, everything makes sense except the one sign, right? But I think that's what the whole riddle is like saying that it's not about flipping the room on a what is it? On a latitudinal axis, but on a longitudinal axis. I'm just talking shit at this point. But you see what I'm saying, though, right? Is like we're only flipping this room on one axis. We're not flipping it on two. That way, you get the right answer. I'm done. You guys continue.
No, you're fine. Although okay. There's something interesting going on here, but I'm not sure.
Well, no, let's move on to the next thing. Let's move on to the pots and the stops and
All right, well, we'll just deal with all the connections between all the things. But see, what we just ran through there is kind of illustrative about what's interesting in this room and what suggests that there's something more we need to put together. Because what is your sign with a question mark? There's a question, so that seems to also be linked to the Sphinx with its question mark as much as it's linked to whatever answer is the sign, you know. We've got the signs that are suggestive or related to each other because they're both signs. We've got the sun and the moon on opposite sides. That seems to be pretty clear, you know, pair to go together. It's interesting, though, that the moon, they put a face on it, which is suggestive of the man in the moon, which in a way could pair it with the stick man on the other side. I don't know. But it's notably different from the sun on the other side, both in that the sun on the other side looks like it's a wood cut out maybe, and the moon is just drawn on a piece of paper and tacked to the wall. There's one nail for the sun, two tacks maybe for the moon.
As long as we're talking about the sun and the moon, can I add another thing?
Yes.
I was collecting some of White Raven's comments on the Abyss before this, and I feel like I think that he's still pressing for more as far as the he talks about the moon and the sun connection, of course, but he says, you know, why does the moon point to the sun rather than the other way around? And he talked about the whole light versus darkness thing and how light is ideal, but then he's giving these impressions like he feels like there's some reinforcing. He said, then I found a reinforcing aspect in this room that basically says night is bad.
I totally agree with him. I totally agree with him on that.
Well, what I was going to say is that I think maybe this is simple, but it's the only thought I have, and I don't think something that anybody's suggested yet. I feel like he's still pushing for more as to why the moon is bad and the sun is good, and I think that the face which you mentioned might account for it because the face looks really rather grim, and if the face were smiling, then it might be a different story. But perhaps he's taking the facial expression as further proof that the light versus darkness theme is here in full force, and you need to be steering away from the sad moon and toward the sun.
What's his rationale for that?
What's his rationale? Well, this is my idea, but he's been hinting that there's something more going on with the moon and the sun, and he's hinting that there's some further indicator of the moon pointing to the sun rather than the other way around.
Oh yeah. I guess we should mention that because there was on the Abyss a little bit of talk about linear thought. We're talking about lines going from one place to another. We're talking about stuff like, okay, well, you're looking at the moon, you're looking at the sun, you're looking at different aspects of this thing. Okay, what do they have in common? Well, what does a radiator have in common with the sun? Well, they're both hot, right? So there was this whole talk on the Abyss. This was like maybe last year, like back when it started, maybe in June or July or something like that. They were talking about, okay, so pots. You got the pots. They got water in them. What else has water in it? Well, the radiator, right? But what does the radiator have that the pots don't? Well, hot water, right? So hot, sun hot. There's something going on here. The moon is cold. You see where I'm going here with this, right? It's like
yeah. This is pretty well established, and I think that this is a good solution. It's the warmer versus cooler solution, especially because I think was it Greg or whoever it was who realized that in room 18 the first sentence is ... a much warmer room, which White Raven accepts and I accept too. I think it's really solid as confirmation that we are supposed to be getting the warmer versus cooler. As in somebody in a blindfold or something.
Yep.
So that seems solid. I don't know why this room has 3 stars. I gotta be totally honest with you. I feel like this room is really...
What do you think stars you think it should have? Like what? You think we killed it? You think we totally got it down or what?
I mean, I feel like there's so much evidence for room 18 already. And I don't think even that Vince is done describing what he was going to say before. Well, maybe. You might have headed him off. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like the evidence for room 18 is all there, and according to White Raven, there's a huge riddle that ties it all together, which has a lot of mad reversing and flipping and stuff going on, or at least I think that's. Let me look that back up.
Well, I mean, see, thing with me is like I can't see a lot of evidence past that whole true sign thing, right? Like the sign in the middle of the room. You know, we flip the whole mirror on that stuff and we look at it, and that's really the only hard evidence we get. If White Raven had anything else on that, then as far as I know, he hasn't brought it forward. He's only said the stuff that we've already talked about, like with the whole the mirror of it, and it's only being flipped one way, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. I also believe this is totally unrelated, but I believe that there's something to do with at the end of the paragraph they talk about going down a long hallway or a long staircase.
Long flight of stairs, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's got something to do with
it,
right? But like we haven't even tapped into that yet. Like we haven't even talked about even up to this day, man. We haven't even like. I think there's a lot to be. I'm just saying, man. We got to be humble because I think there's a lot of shit in this room that we haven't even tapped on. All we're talking about right now is the whole mirror aspect of the stuff. But I don't think there's a lot to be.
People, as far as the flight of stairs, people have mentioned. Well, I don't know if this line has been drawn, but people have talked about the man and the sun. People have thought of that as being sort of evocative of the myth of Icarus, who of course flew too close to the sun and out to the earth. And people, I feel like we feel a little dodgy about that because that would indicate that the sun would be dangerous, which it's not in this room. But the word flight in a long flight of stairs, I don't know if anybody's pointed this out, but that would be fuel for anybody's Icarus fantasies if they were really trying to build a case for that. I do think that it's kind of weird in that it would seem to point away from 18. But that's one thing you could do with flight of stairs.
Well, it also could be something else, aimed for another room in terms of clues. It might not be a clue to this room. For this room.
Oh, the long flight of stairs? Oh, yeah, maybe through some sort of pantry, maybe.
Yeah, because, it's part of the transfer between one room to another, so it's very well there could be one of those inter-room clues that we've talked about. Not at length at all, but But hey, not to say that the stuff talked about in a room is not important for that room, because we've discovered in the past that those first and last sentences in the text have been crucial. They've almost been, completely circumstantial and condemning in their meaning. As soon as you see them, like for example in room. 44 in room 44 where they talk about
disappearing through the wall.
Disappearing through the wall. It's like it's completely, bam. You're like, bam. There's a wall in that room. Where's the room? Where's the wall? It's right there. You know what I mean? It's like there's some cases.
Sorry, wait, hold on. I'm gonna have to ask you to back this up and explain this a little more. Now I'm curious. What is it about 15? What is it about 18 that suggests vanishing through a wall?
No. It's room 44. Oh, you mean you're from room 44.
I'm on room 44. How does this?
I'm just giving the example that in room 44 he gives it all away in the one sentence. If you get it, right? If you get it, then you can see, oh my God, there's a wall in the corner of that room past the door. You know what I mean?
I see. Looking through the door.
Yeah, or looking through the wall. Looking through the wall. Or like walking through the wall. So what I'm saying is that I think at this point we haven't discovered what those preliminary or last sentences are in this room. Like we're talking about like a long stairwell. Like I don't think we've discovered what that means, but I think it means a lot in terms of, if we look at the history of how important those last and first sentences are in the text of the room. Like I don't even think we've fathomed what that could mean yet. Like we figured this shit out. We figured this room out. We've figured out a lot of stuff in it, but I still think there's a lot to discover, and at least that kind of sentence right there, talking about long stairwell.
Do you want to just jump to going through the text right now?
Absolutely, because my shit's not going anywhere right now.
All right, I'll bail you out. Hey, Vince, can I read the text for this one?
Yes. Here, I'm gonna scroll up. Well, I'll leave it on the picture. You can. Okay.
So guys, just cut me off whenever you got something. An entirely different kind of place. The group complained of feeling all turned around, as well they might.
Now, that it's so on the nose and so obvious that you tend to pass on that and think, okay, he's just referencing that the room's turned around, it's backwards. Maybe he is, and maybe it would just be too weird if he didn't reference the fact that the room's a mirror image. But I just want to stop and think about that for a minute. So he complained about everything being turned around as well they might. No, I don't think it means anything. I think it's just pointing out the obvious.
Well, it's interesting insofar. Well, I don't know how much other people accept this, but I love. I think it was Gentile's solution about in the huge room, in the huge living room with the table.
Yeah.
When they say turning around, they took a path that surprised me after all. I love room 14. I love reading that as an indicator to go back through door 10, which is the only way you can get in there. And so, if you accept that turning around is significant there, then yeah, there could be something more that's supposed to be going on here. But no, I don't know.
Well, as far as 14 goes, I got no doubts that Gentile's reading is the Gentile's reading is the correct one there.
Gentile is gentile.
Yeah.
We said.
Well, okay, should I just go on?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Because no one wanted to stay here very long, they missed the real sign while looking through the obvious.
Okay, real sign.
Yeah, we've already discussed one candidate for what the real sign is. Does anybody want to speak for any other possible real sign? Because
Well, at this point, I think he assumes that the travelers, aka us, are going to be looking through all the signs, trying to figure out what the real sign is, right? So I'm just talking about in terms of an order that somebody's going to come in with is they're going to be like, okay, well, what is the real sign? They're going to put that stuff in a mirror. They're going to look at that, and I think at that point, that's when they realize that the center sign, that arrow, is a real one. But how they come to that conclusion, well, it's got to be their decision, you know? It's got to be their adventure. I think we've got there. So anyway, continue.
Well, here's something that strikes me about that phrasing. He says they were looking through the obvious. That wording in itself is kind of ambiguous. When it says you're looking through something, it could mean that you're looking like sequentially at different aspects of it. Like if I was looking through my shoes, it means I'm looking at different pairs of shoes. But it could also mean looking past, like looking past the obvious. And it's not clear whether the guide is saying that they missed the real sign because they were looking at the obvious, or they missed the real sign because they weren't looking at the obvious. In this case, the this way sign would seem to be the obvious indicator of which way to go. And if you look through that, beyond that, past that, then you could miss, I guess, the most important sign. But since that line's ambiguous, it doesn't actually help because you could read it the other way if you needed to get the right answer. So I don't know that really tells you.
All I gotta say is you can't take anything here too seriously because of the experience that we have with what Manson has said was real clue and what wasn't. You know what I mean? It's like you got to give him some flex in the sense that you take anything too literally here, then you might miss something, right?
Yeah, I think the statements in the text generally, like a lot of times, have no literal importance whatsoever. They're just phrased so he can fit in a word or a few words that he wants to draw our attention to. So I think here, real sign is probably what we're looking for there. Like he's drawing our attention to sign, real sign.
Yeah, like I think there's only so much that you can take the illusion. You know what I mean? Like you try to I don't know, look at the text too much. You know what I mean? There's only so much that you can read into something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I'll just breeze through the rest of this. People in their situation, confronted with a challenge, tend to accept the terms of the challenge as a given without examining it from all sides.
That's so weird. That whole sentence is so weird. What is he talking about?
It says it all, though, man. It says it all. What was I just saying?
Tend to accept the terms of the challenge as a given. What does that mean? I mean, I know it doesn't necessarily mean anything literally.
Exactly, you know?
But that wording is just so opaque, you know? This room, the text of this room is just so full of awkwardly phrased things. I don't mean to say awkward like they're ugly or anything, but just strangely weirded things that you're like, I'm missing something with that. This means something, and I don't know what it means.
No, but like all he means is all you got to do is look at this thing in a mirror. Like, what if that is all he means? Like, we might not think that, but who knows, right?
It could be. It could be. It was just a convoluted wording to get to. He wanted to be able to say that you need to look at it from all sides. And then the next line.
Yeah, and I think what you're getting hung up on, Vince, is that he could just as well have written the sentence without and gotten us there without working in this strange business about tending to accept the terms of the challenge as a given.
Yeah.
Which I think is the thing that you're really hung up on. Which I agree is a little opaque as well.
But I got nothing to add there.
Okay.
No insight, just saying, hey, that's strange, and I don't know what it means.
How many sides does that problem have? They don't know.
Now, that's interesting. I mean, it really seems to suggest we should be looking at sides on something, or...
It really does. That was the one thing that messed me up in the whole room. He starts talking about sides as if it's that room with the dice, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we've got the stop sign there, which is notably an octagon. It has 8 sides, and
that the octagonal quality of it. I mean, if you think that the stop sign is sort of hidden in the room that we talked about last time, I forget the red room, the room that we all think is red.
22.
Then yeah, that does the noting of sides with this octagonal stop sign does feel. It feels like you can't just overlook that.
And then, so there's an 8 and 18, and there are 8 sides there, but that feels a little incomplete. But
all right. Before we get into all this shit, why don't we go back to basics and talk about, because since we haven't done this room before, why don't we talk about the pots and the stop sign?
I was trying to do that, and then I went crazy. Then we started reading the text.
All right.
So how about let's finish the text while we're in the middle of it.
Okay. Well, we're just trying to do this from all sides, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Here, I'll just squeak out the last one. We passed down a long flight of stairs. We passed down a long flight of stairs through some sort of pantry and on into ... Okay, we're done.
Okay.
So, stop.
All right, we'll bend back around the statements in the text if we need to. Okay, well, let's finish our connections here, although I think Alex drew them all pretty well, pretty quickly when he was talking before. So we've got the stop sign there in the corner, and there's some other sign behind it. We can't really tell what it is, but obviously you turn stop around backwards and it spells pots, and on the opposite side of the room of the stop sign you've got the pots there, which is a connection between those two, suggests a kind of symmetry in the room. We've got, the pots to the radiator because of the containing water, the radiator to the sun as a heat source.
As far as the pots go, I don't know if anybody has pointed out already that the pot handles, you have a pot handle pointing to 9 and you have a pot handle pointing to 18. And if you were a real rookie, like if you were in the first week of Maze 101, you might think that would be an odd one in solution pointing to 33, but we know better.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, is that if you look at it, there are different types of pots. There's one that is a pan that moves over to 18, and then you got the pot that's going to 9, and then you got another one that doesn't even have a handle on it. So I don't know what that means, but
yeah, I mean, we've talked about that before. There's the phrase pantry in the text, saying they went through a pantry. And then of the 3 vessels there, I guess, the one that you would most likely describe as a pan is the skillet-looking one, the shorter one, with actually the brighter handle, which does point to room 18. And
so maybe you have to try the pan.
yeah. Well, that's been suggested before on the Abyss. That's not bad.
I mean, it's fully possible that the whole pan and stop solution is a red herring, right? Because we've already talked about what the true sign could be, and if you're squabbling too much about the stop sign and the pots and that kind of stuff, then you're completely ignoring what the other sign is pointing to, which is room 18.
I don't know. I feel like there's too much going on here to really just be one intended solution, one intended puzzle to solve.
I agree.
I think it's largely part of the same idea or whatever. Let's see. Let's maybe just note some other interesting things here. So, all the signs are turned around backwards there, obviously. 9 is written out in block letters instead of being the number 9, which I've opined is because to make it clear that it's not an upside down 6.
Yes,
Because,
totally concur.
yeah. Okay, then I guess there's no controversy there. But to make it clear.
Well, no.
Well, there has been. I mean, somebody has suggested, I believe it would be Hidden Mystery who suggested that there's a concealed 31 in there, but I think that's not accepted on the grounds of the maze mapping, which we know.
No, yeah, I would have to agree with that in the sense that the reason you wrote that 9 that way is to clarify that everything in this room is above board. You know, there's no hidden numbers in that sense, in the sense of reversal or mirror images, that kind of stuff. I think.
It's just they are. I mean, 81 is a mirror image of 18, but it makes it clear that it is a horizontal flip, not a vertical flip, because you can flip. Like if you flip the page upside down, the 81 becomes an 18. The EE on the left becomes a 33, and because you've got that this way sign down there, which is flipped differently from the rest of the room. I think he needs to make it clear that there's no trick here with regard to how you're flipping these or how you look at it. It clearly is just a left-right flip, and that's 9 achieves that, makes it clear that that's what's going on there.
That's right. I think it would be too much of a revolution for any other room other than 29. Or sorry, is it 29? Yeah, I think it's 29. To have hidden rooms in. You know what I mean? I think somebody discovered that a long time ago if that was the case.
Yeah, well, I'm not buying any hidden room stuff from anybody. But I'm surprised to hear you say that because you're the big guy about escaping the trap.
Well, only in the trap, though, man. Only in the trap, and that's for another day. Like we're still in the loop here, right? This is a loop room, right?
Yeah, we're in the loop here.
Yeah, you know, but you know, I do got to remind you guys both that White Raven did say something about there being a certain amount of rooms that had their own sort of feel to it. You know what I mean? Like they're sort of like different themes to each room, and this room has its own theme, but a couple other rooms have the same theme as this one in the sense that this one all has its clues pointing towards one thing, and he never really elaborated on that, but I think there's something to it. Like there's like a few different ways that Manson has put clues in rooms, and this is one of the types of clues that he put in. And you know, saying that, it's like one of those things where all the clues point to one room. I don't know if he's going to even comment on this, but I hope he does. But I think there's something to it. I think there's something to it there because there's, you know, everything points to really one thing if you think about it.
One thing I noted, and it doesn't really reach the level of solution, and no one else commented too much on it, but I thought it was interesting. Okay, the door to 18 is closed. We can't see what's behind that, so we can't see whether it's light or dark behind there or what. We can see that it's dark through room 9. There's no door there, and we can see that it's dark through 33. It's dark there. There's supposed to be some indication in here that light is good, dark is bad. I don't know what it is yet. But when it comes to it, I think it's interesting that 18 is the one room we can't see that it's dark through there. The closed door there, it has that sign over it that's been blacked out.
Hey, you know, you're the first person to mention that. This is the first person. You, right now, I'm telling you, you're the first person to mention that the right room has a closed door. I haven't seen that on the Abyss. I haven't seen that anywhere. Andrew, have you heard that before? Did the close?
Didn't you just say that you had posted it on the Abyss before?
No, I never saw it on the Abyss. Where
No,
was
I mean, didn't Vince say that he had posted it on the Abyss?
I don't. I can't remember whether I pointed out it having a closed. I must have because I think because I posted it on there when I was talking about the blackness behind the rooms. So I must have posted
about it.
But my focus in the post wasn't so much like, hey, this door is closed and the other doors are open, so this is like an odd one out or something like that. I was pointing out that I think the blacked out sign over the closed door that's unmarked I don't think it's a sign that's been blacked out. I think it's a window over the door that lets you see blackness beyond it. And the reason I said that is because the other 3 placards are all leaning against the wall, but that one is pressed flush up against it.
Well, I would say that the 18 placard is also...
I think it's leaning, but I can...
No, I like that mentality. I like that. It's the kind of shit that Manson would do. Like, considering room 12 and 28, was it?
Yeah.
The illusionary fact might happen.
Fake door. I mean, that's true.
Exactly. Fake doors, Fake doors and fake things in general in the maze. Fake trees. Fake trees. Big time fake trees in at least 2 rooms, man.
Yeah. Not that we need to be warned away from that room or anything. I just thought it was interesting that it kind of solidified this theme of all the other rooms being dark and that one at least potentially being light. We can't see what's beyond it, although we do see a big old sun on the front of it, which is at least symbolically suggestive of light.
No, it's
it
a good.
It would be curious if the panel over the 15 door were indeed a window, because that room is, to say the least, not pitch black. It's one of the rooms where light is a real factor in solving the room. It's the hero room. But it could be another hallway or something else.
Yeah. Now, we didn't mention this yet. I don't know how we went this far without mentioning it. Another thing we don't know what to do with is that stick figure is wearing a top hat. That is our good buddy Top Hat there on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well,
what reminded me of that,
has been following our podcast. They know very well that we think there's a theme to that.
what reminded me of that is you mentioned room 15, which is a room where when you go into it, they say you hear a door slam and footsteps, which always makes me think about Top Hat whenever I hear about movement of people in the maze. So maybe someday we're going to find a path that Top Hat follows through the maze, and maybe he comes here from there, and that's why you hear the footsteps and the door slam, because he's shutting the door to room 3 as he comes through here from 15. But
maybe he only takes the unmarked doors.
What's that?
I thought maybe he only takes the unmarked doors. Maybe that would be the.
Well, the problem is, let's see, he's in.
He does take a path, and I believe, according to Greg, this is one of the first rooms that he appears in terms of his path.
But Top Hat is in room 7, and there are no unmarked doors in there, so he can't only travel by the unmarked doors.
Wait, he's in. What's the indication that he was in room 7?
He's in one of the the portraits on the wall.
Oh, well, yeah, if you want to count that, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
But
is...
maybe it's a window. Maybe he's not inside room 7. Maybe it's a window, like the panel over door 15. It's a window, and he's peeking into room 7.
Yeah, I really think that that's a possibility with room 7.
No. Listen. Top Hat has his own path. Greg already proved this, but he never got anywhere with a theory. He just said that there was a definite path with this guy, and it starts in room 3. I'm telling you, gentlemen, if you Google this through, you don't want to Google it. You want to Google it maze style. You want to look at the rooms. I'm telling you, he has his own path, but Greg has not solidified any specific end game for this. All right, I'm just saying that room 3 is the first one.
I don't remember. I didn't know Greg drew out a path that started at room 3. So okay.
No, yeah, he went into this. He went into this like pretty substantially. But I'm telling you guys, this is a different battle for a different day. You cannot use Top Hat in this circumstance to move forward or whatnot.
All right. I'm intrigued now, but that's our good buddy Top Hat there. So whatever is going on with Top Hat, this room is part of that.
Hey, we should revisit Greg for that. I'm telling you, we should ask him some questions online and see what he's got to say. I think that would be good for a episode or two.
Maybe we can get Greg to come back for one.
As long as we're talking about the sun, White Raven has also said that there's another. He specified in this context. There's another very obvious connection between the sun and the man. It doesn't pertain to warmth, and it's not Manson. And so far, I don't think there's been a stab at figuring out what he meant by that, or at least I don't think that he's clarified what he meant by that. I don't think anybody's figured it out. But apparently, the sun and the man have some other thing that they're sharing between them, or some other connection between them.
And it's obvious, apparently.
It's so obvious, isn't it?
I mean, the guy's fingers kind of look like sun rays.
I thought they looked like antennae, maybe.
I mean, the thing is, you can only approach these things in a certain amount of ways. There's only a certain amount of connections that you can make between one thing and another. Like, what are you going to do? Count fingers or count sticks in his, what makes up his body, that kind of stuff. There's only a certain amount of. You got to think within the parameters of the game. In which case, this is, apparently you don't have to look at anything outside the book, but that's pretty broad still. Like, you could still say, you still had to know about Icarus and Daedalus and the Minotaur and all that kind of shit. So I don't mean to sound pessimistic or anything, but it almost seems that there's more doors being opened here than they're being closed.
It's not a bad thing. I don't think that's pessimistic.
Hey, I think that's great, in my opinion. I think the longer that happens, the longer we're gonna have our fucking web channel and the Mazecast and the Abyss and all that good stuff.
All right, I just have a couple more things. This is not even to the level of an observation, but just kind of like a suggestion for something maybe for people to look at and think about. No one has really done anything with the turned around letters or numbers meaning something. Like, obviously you turn 33 around, it looks like EE, but I haven't heard any attempts to interpret the room in such a way that it suggests like EE, you know what I mean? Or an 18, you turn it around, it's 81. If there was something in the room cluing to 81, I think we would consider that a fair clue for 18, but I haven't heard anyone suggesting that. And
when you turn around the is in what is your sign, of course you get 21.
Yeah.
Clarify what you're saying about EE.
What I'm saying about it? Well, I'm just saying that 33 is EE.
And you almost wonder if he wanted to deliberately suggest the EE, and that's why he chose that incredibly blocky font. Because he could just as well have given the words a bit more of a curve, and he could just as well have given the digits a bit more of a curve. The digits 3.
No, I see what you're saying, and I see what you're saying. Is this like if it was pure mirror image shit, then he could have just done it as real 3s, but he didn't. He chose to
yeah.
Seems
like
Greg, take us on a tour of Top Hat's path in a minute.
Yeah, I got to take my hat off to that. Sure.
Okay. Let me finish what I was going to say there real quick. No, I pretty much said it. I just think it's something for people to maybe think about. Maybe they'll come up with a better answer than I did. I would note that 81 is a square. It's the square of 9, and there are references to...
Oh, Greg's in the house.
Yeah.
Hello, Greg. Hello, Gregor.
Hi.
How are you, my main man?
So I was just coming on to say that 81 is a square of 9, and there's 9 in the room, and 3 times 3 equals 9.
Well, damn, there you go. The whole package in one little box.
And that means the right door is 9, right?
9 is the square of 3.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you joined us, my friend.
I'm glad I joined you too.
Well, let me ask you something. Just some fresh eyes on this. We've been bullshitting about this for the last 45 minutes, but what do you have to say that you may not have heard of, or you just want to say on Room 3? Like, what do you have to say, just fresh off the boat?
Well, I've done a lot of work on Room 3 in the past. It's been a long time since I've thought about it, though. I didn't actually prepare for this
Well,
webisode.
tell me, man, tell me.
Well, so have you talked about pantry already? You probably
little
talked about everything I have to say.
Yeah, we sort of talked about that.
What?
We sort of talked about that.
We sort of talked about that. And the panhandles and the
Pantry, you
pantry.
know.
Yeah, that came up.
And you know,
Okay. I think I'm guessing whatever I've said in the past, that you already agreed with, you probably already brought up because it was all old stuff.
Yes, but we haven't actually done a podcast on this. So if you have anything new to add, then
Oh, I don't have anything new. No, no, I haven't opened my maze book in months, maybe. No,
Well,
that's true.
There you go, folks. We got Greg here. He's knee deep in other types of games, and you can follow his channel on hellogregor.com. But according to this podcast, he's got nothing new for us, my brothers.
Nothing new for you, brothers
Nope.
and sisters.
It is what it
Whatever
is.
you identify as. You're my siblings.
Whatever your sign is.
Yep. You can have a sun sign, you can have a moon sign, you can have a rain shine. As long as you smile when you're crying.
Nobody's smiling in this picture, not even the moon. He's looking down.
Uh-huh.
He's looking
I
very
think the top hat there is pretty happy. Or else
As you say, the stick figure looks pretty gleeful.
Well, he's either having fun or he's running away from something. He's going, ah!
yeah. That seems to be what he's doing in the other rooms. Can we extrapolate and say he's also running away here?
Well, what we can extrapolate on is that he's running towards door 18. Because he's not
Well,
running
he's
away.
running towards the Sphinx.
No, but I'm saying, like, he's a two-dimensional figure, right? He's either running away or towards door 18, and he's running towards it.
But if things are supposed to be reversed, he's running away.
No. You put that shit in a mirror, he's still running towards him. That's what I'm saying. I think the whole room is based on the mirror. You're talking about, okay, what's the true sign? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, how are we going to see this room, from a clear perspective? Put in a mirror. Okay, boom, we got a mirror. Now you can read all the signs. Now you can read 9. Now you can read what's your sign. Now you can read everything else. And he's still running towards 18.
And this way is still pointing the right way.
Damn right, my brother. Boom! Boom. Anyway. Andrew's not... got his forehead there.
What? Does anyone want to summarize what's happened on this cast? Seems like you're winding down, maybe.
Well, you just heard some of Alex talking for a little bit there. That's kind of been the episode.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Alex is real revved up for
That's
tonight.
awesome. I'm glad you're sharing the mic space there, Vince.
I've been enjoying it. I've felt like this is like a night off for me.
Yeah, that's great.
He's really taking the pressure off.
Boom.
It's good to see people excited.
It's a fun atmosphere. This should have happened on New Year's Eve. That would have been festive. We could have rung in the New Year. Well, we're all in different time zones, aren't we? No, you're all in the same time zone. We could have rung in your New Year talking about Room 3 in this real exciting way. But it's fine. You can be excited when it's not a New Year.
All right, let me say the last thing that I was going to say about it. I don't even remember whether I really finished with my other things. Yeah, I've got some other things, but I'm even going to try to get to them now. Let me just say this.
If you have more things, get those things on the table. Leave nothing. Put it all on the field, man.
All right, listen, here's something I really want to say. Look at the stop sign. Backwards letters, to me, resemble numbers, right? It looks like a 9. It looks like a 0. The next one's arguable. I would say it looks like a 7.
Well, okay, if you want to get into that, this is something I talked about on the Abyss and elsewhere ad infinitum. What I was talking about was, if you look at all these straight letters in the room, you're going to see a pattern. You're going to see a lot of 2s and 5s because, these straight letters, as S's or blah, 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 they look like 2s or 5s. So when you look at all the letters in the room, Vince, go back to the book on the screen.
I'm on it. It's
There
on.
you go. There you go. Okay, so if you're looking at the stuff, right? You got the in the sign this way, you got 1, 2, so 12. But reversed, it could be 51. Also, in the what is your sign, you got the 12 again, or the 21, or even the 15. You know what I mean? Like you got all these weird combinations of letters going on. You got another one in what is your sign. If you look at your sign, it's 1, 2. But it could also be 5, 1. It could also be 2, 1. You see what I'm saying? And so you've got a lot of flipped numbers in this room that are leading you either astray or to the right way, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. The point is, all these numbers are there, and Manson expects you to find them one way or another, right? And he's judging you. He's judging you. He's saying, are you going to take this shit seriously? Are you going to actually follow these numbers, or are you just going to follow the true sign, which is this way at the end of the day, right? Like, are you just going to give it a break, or are you just going to say, fuck it?
Alex!
Yes.
You see that stop sign?
I do.
You got like an S, and then if you turn that T upside down, it's a 1.
Exactly. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what you were saying.
You got numbers everywhere in this room, man.
Okay, here's what I was trying to say. The stop.
Can I take a guess? Can I take a guess? I think if you add up 9 and 0 and 7 and 2. Is that
If you
what
add
you're
1 and 0, you get 32. 34.
Well, that seems totally obvious, but I hadn't even thought about adding them together to get 18.
Wait,
No.
really? No, that wasn't what you were going with?
No, I was looking at it as a 90 and a 72, and 81 is the term in between them, because 72 is 9 times 8, and 90 is 9 times 10, and 81 is 9 times 9.
Okay, Gentile.
No, you can add them up. You can just friggin' add them right up.
Yeah, I got it. I understand now.
All right, good.
I'm just saying that's not the way I was thinking of it, but or maybe I do think of it.
So you were saying 90 because 90 is...
But
I was trying not to go in that direction. I was trying to go just in what we have there, the 2s and the 1s.
Well, listen to this, Alex. If you take the numbers in stop, if you take them as 9, 2, and 1, if you add those together, you get 12.
No. I'm just talking about the ones that look like either 2s or 5s or 1s, because those are the ones.
But a 2 and a 1, which make up 12, looks like a 2, a 5, or a 1.
Look how many combinations you have, Greg. Look at.
I know. I'm just giving you another example of where you have that. But Vince has more to say.
Hey, Vince.
Jesus, I don't. What is going on here?
Hey, Vince.
I was not trying to derail you guys. I was just you guys asked me my expertise, and I just gave you a bunch of shit in terms of the 2s and the 1s. But Vince, by all means, continue.
Did you say that 90 minus 72 equals 18? Because it does.
That's true too. Well, that's kind of the same point I was. I mean, it's okay. Any two-digit multiples of 9 are going to add to 18.
Oh, that's right. Well, that's clever. He's clever. He's a clever guy.
But in any case, yeah, there's some stuff on that sign that could suggest 18, I guess. I guess because of the strange properties multiples of 9s have, there are a lot of different operations you could do on those numbers to get to 18. But I guess what I was getting at wasn't even cluing 18, but cluing 81, because 81 is the number that would go in between 90 and 72 as.
Oh, this is all really good. I think that's really versatile.
Yeah, but when you start getting like 5 different ways that the answer could be clued from the same information, that sort of suggests to me that it's just kind of wide open, you know? Like, I don't know.
Maybe the stop sign is the real sign.
It's possible.
Well, the reverse of stop is go.
And go is what, 9-0?
But I looked at the stop sign as being pots. You stop. You don't go the way the pots are pointing. You go the way the pan. You try the pan.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Yeah, so we got that covered. I think that's pretty cool.
Only other thing I want to mention, look at the Sphinx painting and how crooked it is. Like, if you look at the right-hand border, it seems to go pretty much. You can see it's not just leaning against the wall. The thing is actually crooked, like it's been pushed over to the left.
Yeah.
Those are not 90-degree angles. No clue whether that means anything or not.
It could just be an error.
If there is something about squares maybe he didn't want that to be square.
No,
Well,
I think Andrew. I think
square
Andrew
anyway,
made the best
but
point.
he didn't want it to be rectilinear.
I think he wanted to. I think it was just a drawing error. I think he wanted to look so you could still see the door jamb there. Um, you wanted to have some dynamism between the edge of the painting and the door jamb. But
Yeah, I don't know that that's anything. I agree with Greg. It's sort of it's too subtle to be something. Maybe. No?
well, you never know. I mean,
You never know. You never know with the
we're
crystal.
trying to look into the mind of God here. So what's too subtle to us might be like plain as the nose on your face.
Whoa, 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 God. Easy, easy. This is just Christopher Manson, bro. Oh, good.
Christopher, Christmas, God.
Don't wail out on me here.
All right. Well, I got nothing left to say about Room 3. Anyone have anything else that they want to say about it?
All I gotta say is, if anybody has anything to say who's watching this podcast, let us know. Let us know if you see something that you haven't noticed us talk about. We'd love to hear from you.
I really like Room 3.
Yeah, we
Me
expressed
too.
our love for it as well earlier on.
Well, you said if anyone has anything else to say that they haven't said, I haven't said that. I really like Room 3. It's a fun movie.
I wasn't reproaching you. I was just saying we
You agree with me before I
agreed
said
with you
it.
before- yeah.
Okay, cool.
Great.
Cool, sibling.
All right. I think this was a fun one. I like the new insane Alex. Hopefully, whatever you're taking, you've got an ample supply for next time.
Listen,
Yeah.
man, I'm sober. I'm just drinking a fucking beer here. That's about it. That's all there is to it. I'll
Over the
Things
alcohol.
kind of don't go together, but all right.
What maze?
All right. We'll see you next time. We'll figure out what room we're going to do in the meantime. Hopefully, we'll get back on a weekly schedule here. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Good night, people.
Um,